For you today. Today we have Victor Henry. He's a UFC Bantamweight fighter. Let's get right into the video. All right, so first, a few questions, kind of like icebreakers. So, like, what animal would you like to talk to if you could talk to any animal?
Tardigrades.
Why?
Because they survive anything. They're little micros. They look like they look like little bears. They're microscopic, but basically, you can throw those things on Mars and they would survive because that's just the way they are. They're literally smaller than little molecules and shit. So that's who I would talk to. Being able to survive literally anything.
Yeah, no, yeah, I guess you couldn't agree more. You got to survive. What is the most boring sport to watch in your opinion?
Baseball.
Just because of the longevity of it and everything?
No, I mean, it's so this. I work at a bar, so
Yeah,
you get a lot of fans of a lot of different sports. But I like to mess with the baseball crowd because I just tell them, man, how are you gonna have a sport where in the middle of the sport you have something called the seventh inning stretch? Like, yeah, like your sport is so
yeah.
interesting that you got to stand up and stretch before. I mean, before the end of the game. But I can't. I mean, I used to play baseball when I was a kid, and I
Yeah.
just, even now, sometimes friends, we've had little baseball games here and there, but I just can't watch it. I just can't. It just, to me, it's just so slow.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah, last one. So, what is your favorite late night snack?
Favorite late night snack? Donuts. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, dude, I work at a bar, and I sometimes I'm coming home at like 2 in the morning, and there's a 2, 3 in the morning, and there's a donut shack that's open right here, and I'll stop by and I'll get a dozen donuts, and sure enough, I'll have some right before I go to bed, and some of my roommates will have it before. I mean, right when they wake up. So donuts are the way to go. You can have them at any point in the day, and they're good.
no, yeah. Me and my buddies after the bar, we always go to Sheets. There's
Uh huh.
get some late night snack, little gas station food. So I want to get into. So I think believe I'm right, but was it UFC 270 was the first time you met Joe Rogan, right?
The first time I got to talk to him inside the
Yeah,
cage,
yeah.
the first time I actually met him, it was in an elevator in 2006 when I first started training over at Legends MMA. I went to go sign up, and it was him and Eddie Bravo in the elevator, and we kind of like, oh, hey, what's up,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, it must be
but
it must be a surreal experience getting to talk to him after winning a fight though at 270.
yeah, I mean, it was, it's weird because we have a lot of the same mutual friends because, obviously my head coach, Josh Barnett, and he's obviously really familiar with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan is, he knows a lot of the people I know,
Hmm.
and it's just weird that we've never actually got to talk to each other,
Yeah,
especially with all the stuff that we're into.
yeah. So at that fight, you came out to Bearing Teeth for Revolt. Do you care come out to that like all the time and like why that song is?
Well, I mean, I like heavy metal. That genre of music is I mean, real popular with me and my crowd and the people that I
Mhm.
hang out with. But I don't always walk out to that song. In fact, when I started my amateur career, I would walk out to "Hot for Teacher" by Van Halen.
Yeah,
Later on, when I turned pro, I started walking out to "The Great Stone War" by Winds of Plague, and they're a heavy metal band, and I've always pretty much liked metal, things
yeah,
like that. Bearing Teeth for Revolt. I mean that's recent history within the past 6 fights that
yeah,
I've fought
yeah,
in. So
yeah,
getting that fight in general was pretty hard with the UFC because they at first they didn't like it because of we don't like we want to keep the family environment. And 270 was over in Anaheim, we're over with
yeah,
Disneyland, and at first they weren't cool with it, and I was like, how are you gonna not be cool with my song? It doesn't
yeah,
have any cuss words,
yeah,
doesn't have anything, and then you have all these people walking out to rap songs with talking about drugs and
yeah,
degrading women and dropping racial slurs, and
yeah,
my music doesn't have any of that. It's just fast. And
yeah.
they were like, oh yeah, okay. So here you go.
That's wild. At that fight, you took that fight pretty last minute, right?
Yeah. I was I was actually eating Korean barbecue when they hit me up for that fight. So I had to lose 20 something pounds within a short amount of time.
That's wild. I guess I mean, I imagine you're always like staying ready, but I guess that fight maybe like exemplified like, why you do that, I guess.
Yeah, I tell a lot of people, especially my teammates, that you have to be able to be at least in a position to capitalize on opportunity. Um, Even if you're not in the best shape, like it's hard to be in the best shape when you're not training for it, but as long as you keep your diet in check and just because you're not in the gym pushing super ultra hard all the time doesn't mean you're not in a great position to take a fight.
Yeah.
And an example of that is when I fought Barcelos at 270. Like I wasn't in the best shape, but I was in the gym, I was consistent, I was still doing my rounds, and my weight was in a point where it was manageable. Where I can, okay, this is gonna suck, but I can do it. And then when I did it, the opportunity was there. It doesn't make sense for these fighters to get like 30, 40 pounds over their suggested weight. I mean, their weight class, and then here comes an opportunity to fight in the UFC or to have a last minute fight against a ranked opponent
Mhm.
or whatever it is. You're just not in the position to do it because you've gotten fat, and that, I mean, it kind of sucks. But if you, at the end of the day, or at the end of your career, you look back on it and you say, man, I couldn't capitalize on this because I was fat.
Yeah. So I guess
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah, I guess it kind of like leads my question to like what weight do you walk around and what do you do to cut weight?
Well, I usually, even when I'm heavy for my weight class, I'm usually around 155 pounds.
Uh,
That's when I'm heavy. When I'm out, when I'm pretty much in fight camp and I'm training regularly and doing everything I usually do, then I talk about 150 pounds, and I probably won't get past 151. When I'm 155, that's heavy for me. That's like,
yeah.
okay, I've taken breaks. I'm training, but I'm not training ultra hard. Like I'm trying to do something. I'm training, but I'm resting at the same time. As far as cutting weight, man, that's a lot. A lot of it is diet. I'm lucky in that as soon as I start changing my diet, my weight actually comes off pretty quick.
Mhm.
And then the last 10 pounds is pretty much water weight, man.
Yeah.
Um, go from 145 to 135, water weight, cut out the carbs, salt load on the week before, and then the week of the weight cut, you start water loading and cut out all the salt, cut out all the carbs, and it's just proteins and greens, and start cutting down your portion sizes, and all of a sudden, there you go. It sucks, but it's possible.
Yeah, you kind of talk about all the things that like go in the fight. I always wanted to ask, I never asked anyone, but like, fight week, how hard is it? Like, you have like media obligations, all this stuff that goes into it. How hard is it, do all these things, and then at the end of the day, you still have a fight at the end of the week?
It's not too hard, it does get a little time consuming,
Hmm.
where it's like, okay, well, like for instance, this last one, I didn't have that much media to do. It's like, okay, you do your mandatory media, which is like Asian. You do Asian MMA. They have some interviews, and then you do a couple interviews with like Paul Felder, Dominic Cruz, Daniel Cormier. Some of those guys, they ask you
Yeah.
pre-fight stuff, but it's not that hard. When you get to the upper
Yeah.
echelon of the top five guys and everything, and they have media, press conference, this, that, and the other, open workouts, that's where it
Yeah.
starts to become a little more
Yeah.
demanding. But the UFC as a promotion, they still give you time to do the things that you need to do in order to cut weight and train and everything. So you know it's it's not very hard. It is pressure, but it's not hard. Um, Considering how, like, okay, like usually during fight camp, you're training 3 times a day. You train in the morning, you train in the afternoon, you train at night. When it's the week of the fight, you're not doing that because obviously you're not going to burn yourself out, but also you're cutting weight. So you're primarily just losing a little bit of weight, drilling, doing that, doing this, and it's not too hard. But now you're replacing one of those training sessions with media.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta answer questions for a few hours, and then kind of, okay, guys, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta go do this. You're pretty much taken care of, so it's not too hard.
Yeah. So you mentioned, your last fight, obviously. I wanted to ask you, like, for like, when do you want to fight your next fight? And is there anyone in particular you're looking for, or how's that going?
I'm not really in the business of I'm in the business of fighting people, not calling people out. I just renegotiated my contract for 4 more fights. So I'm here, I'm here
Yeah.
for, at least another four. Um, I have nobody really in mind that I'd really like to fight. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as it keeps me climbing towards the end goal, which is of
Yeah.
course the belt, then I'm in for it.
Yeah.
The UFC, I believe, has a road paved out for me that they think that it is going to benefit the company, of course, benefit me. But you know, as far as when, I don't even know. They haven't hit me up with anything, but I'm ready to go. After my last fight, I took a day off, and then I just got back into the gym.
Hmm.
I went back to it. So,
Yeah. I like to do this. So random fight. In 2013, you had a fight in Burbank, California. What can you tell me about that, if you remember it?
was it the one I fought Bronson Casares?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that fight was interesting enough. So this promoter, Roy Engelbert, he has a promotion out here called OC Fight Club,
Hmm.
but he also has this private deal that he does for. I think it's a charity event. A lot of these guys, they multimillionaires,
Hmm.
movie stars. They're at this country club, and it's a small private event for them.
Yeah.
I fought on the same card as Alan Joban, who ended up being in the UFC also.
Yeah.
Now, this guy Bronson Casares was 4-0, and I was 3-0, and so he was a tall, lengthy southpaw. And I was like, okay, that was a tough fight because, of course, neither one of us wanted to lose, and I'm swinging for the fences, and he's swinging for it, and we're just both going at it. So I ended up getting the unanimous decision win,
Yeah.
and I remember right after the fight, before they announced me as the winner, both me and Bronson, we have our hands up and we're walking around
Yeah.
in the ring. And I see Sylvester Stallone, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's there!" And he goes like, he gives me that, like this, the
That's
Rocky, like,
crazy.
"Hey, good job,"
Yeah.
like whatever. And I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." Well, like I said, it was a private show, so as soon as you fight, they escort you to your locker room. They
Hmm.
have you get dressed, and they kick you out basically. So what I
Wow.
did is I went to yeah. So what I did is I went to my locker room. I got my clothes and everything, and I snuck off into the areas where I wasn't supposed to be with all the guys that were
Yeah.
multimillionaires and everything. And sure enough, this one guy goes, "Hey man, that was a great fight. You won me some money. Here's a drink," and I don't drink,
Yeah.
so I kind of like handed it off to my coach. "Oh,
Hmm.
here you go," and he kind of taught me, "Hey man, even if you don't drink or whatever, and if somebody offers you something, you take it
Yeah.
because these guys want to feel like they're doing something for you. So even if you just take it and you're just holding it and they don't even see you drinking it, just take it. I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then the guy goes, "Hey, we got some girls in the back. You want to just get one and blah blah blah." So they were just, and I was like, "Nah, bro, I'm
Yeah.
good. I got me a girlfriend." All right, all right. Hey,
Yeah.
she ain't even gonna know. So
That's wild. So a couple of last questions. I don't want to like take too much time, but how'd you get your nickname?
which one? Because I got a few of them.
La Mangosta?
All right, so that one. All right, so a lot of people don't know, but I'm half Mexican. Even though this red beard and long hair, I look like a white dude, but I'm half Mexican. And my coach, Josh Barnett, he goes, "We got to give you a nickname that's that'll bring in your Mexican heritage." And I'm like, "Yeah, do it, go for it,
Yeah.
bro." Because I mean,
Yeah.
where I'm from, we don't choose our nicknames. Our coaches do. So after a day of deliberation, he comes back. We're gonna call you La Mangosta, which means the mongoose.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why that? I mean, my dad has been calling me El
Mhm.
Monstro, the monster, since I was a
Yeah.
kid. Why La Mangosta? He goes, "Oh, bro, it's because you're like a little, you're feisty, you're curious, and then when at a drop of a hat, you're willing to get fucking violent." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, whatever."
Yeah. That makes
But
sense. That's funny. That's
yeah,
great.
I'm just like, "Yeah, dude, a mongoose. All right, cool,
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah, we'll run it. In your career, you've been all over the world. Where's the coolest place you've been to fight?
Oh man, I think the coolest place I've been is probably most likely Japan.
Yeah.
They just it's just everything that they do is just so it's Japanese. Even just the simple things they do, it's so Japanese, but it's so cool. It's so this the way they do things.
Yeah.
Um, Even when I fought in Russia, I thought that was a cool place too. It was just such a different experience. But I would say that the reason why Japan is because they were I've had more experiences over there.
Mhm.
The experience to do so many different things
Mhm.
in different places in Japan, and it's a super small country in comparison to the rest of the world. But they have their ways of doing things, and it's just so rooted in history that no matter what, like even when I fought for the deep championship belt over at Kuroken Hall has hosted many legendary fights, legendary fighters, and these matches that people remember, and they have them all over the wall. Different banners of different fights of different fighters, and I remember seeing Andy Hugh there, and then of course Josh Barnett, wrestled there and fought there. It's just a real cool place.
Yeah. Last question. So in your career, what was the toughest win for you?
The
Someone stand
toughest
out?
win,
Yeah.
uh, I want to say Yuki Motoya when I fought for the deep belt. That was the toughest win because the first round came out, we were good, and the second round came out, I dropped him with a head kick, well, more a soccer kick, and then he survived it, and and everything, and then in the third round, I had to survive that thing. He was 100% going for the finish, but I just remember just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, and then the fight was over, and I was so tired that I thought the referee had stopped the fight. So I was like, "Damn, did I just get
Yeah.
TKO'd?" And they were like, "Oh no, that was a decision." I was like, "Oh, good," because I didn't even hear the
Yeah.
bell because I remember just thinking to myself, "Keep moving,
Mhm.
keep moving." He's throwing punches, and some of them are hitting, most of them are missing, but I'm just moving. I'm trying to get my stuff in, and I ended up winning a split decision over Yuki Motoya, and yeah, that was a real hard win. I still came away with the belt, so that was a real hard win.
Yeah. Just keep grinding. Victor, I really appreciate you coming on, man. It means a lot. Hope to stay in touch and, thank you again.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on, man.